And we're back. Yes, we're at Sycamore Crossing in downtown Blue Ridge, and the noise you hear behind you will be the sounds of small town USA waking up on a Friday morning, the nice little noises of construction. At 9 o'clock we will hear the train, but now it's time for my good friend Dr. Raymond Tidman. How are you doing, Dr. Tidman?
Very good.
Good to see you. Now, you have a joke before we leave, right?
Well, a quick observation. I mean, last time I was here, there was a lot of angle iron and steel and jackhammers, and it's gone. What happened?
Well, that's a 3-story brick building. That's a big building over there.
Very nice. The 3 stories in Blue Ridge.
3 stories, right? Yeah, that's a loft apartment.
That is serious.
We have loft apartments. Before we get started, you said something that caught my interest. A father's observation?
Well, you know, we started with technical difficulties this morning, and just a week ago we had that big storm come in.
Yes.
And of course, we lost power. I lost power. One night without power, camping out, candles, it's kind of fun. Second night, your wife's getting real serious about getting things fixed. So I got home Friday night, decided to start that generator. It hadn't been started for 5 years. I'm crawling around on my knees in the dark, cranking on this thing. It's not starting. Next morning I get up, haul that thing up on the tailgate of my truck, can't get it started, drive off to see a friend, go to the auto parts store, get all the parts, get home, get the line cleaned out, get the carburetor apart. Murphy's Law, they turn the power back on. So the father's observation about this is your workbench. You know, it's those kind of things that we kind of teach our children by example, but we don't say to them in person. Crawling around on that floor in the dark, trying to fix something with my head down is not a good way to solve a problem. But if you get it up in good light where you can see it and you can work on it and you can tell what's going on, you can solve a lot of problems. So where you have a workbench in life and how you take care of that workbench is an important thing.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. Where your workbench is in life can determine.
Yeah.
Because we're all working on something in our work.
You got to solve some problem somewhere.
Like yeah. Now, that's a good segue into shingles.
Okay. Question of the day.
I didn't have a segue. I mean, I was looking for a way to move that right in. I mean, that was great. But
I'm just glad you didn't pull your shirt up and say, well, you know, what is? I get that. I get that in the grocery store, and that's just, you know, that gets really tiresome. So.
Hey, doctor, you got it. Is there a cream on you? Oh, yes, by the way, we know these people very well before we have a lot of fun here. We do have some questions this morning, and seriously, can anyone get shingles? And I want to add on to the end of this. Can anyone get shingles? Should people take the vaccination? And the last thing I'd like to add on to that is, why do we hear so much about it now? And maybe did I just not pay attention when I was younger that why is it more now?
Let's start with the last part first.
Okay.
Why it's more now is that we have solutions. You have a vaccine. Why talk about it before? Because if you're going to get shingles, you're going to get shingles. The treatment was difficult. You just basically had to run its course, give the patient something for pain. So there was not a lot of reason to talk about it. Now that we have a vaccine, you know, there's a reason to bring it up and make people aware. Second question in there is who should get the vaccine? Goes back to the origin of the disease. The disease is an unusual manifestation of a childhood disease. Most of us of our generation, less of the younger generation, had chickenpox. Now there's chickenpox vaccines for children. So their generation will be a whole different animal, but for our generation, we had chickenpox. And unfortunately, that virus, after our body whipped it, didn't fully kill it, and it went and lived and moved inside of little neurons inside of our spinal column. Later on in life, at the worst time, they flare up, and along that nerve they march, and whatever nerve that is, they create this very painful rash. So, a couple of things about a shingles rash. It only occurs on a half of the body, so if the rash crosses the midline, it's not shingles. The second thing is sometimes you have pain or discomfort before you see the rash. Many people have different courses. Some people it's a few days, some people have shingles for weeks, and some very unfortunate people, even after the shingles is gone, have what's called post-herpetic neuralgia, where that rash will hurt, that place will hurt for months and months. and that becomes its own medical problem. And then the very first thing you asked about is who's going to get it. Well, the people that are not going to get it are those who never had chickenpox. So if you've never had chickenpox, or you had chickenpox vaccine and you never got chickenpox, you will never need the vaccine, the shingles vaccine, because you will never get shingles. The people who are going to get it, unfortunately, are those who are either under a lot of stress or have some other illness that's manifesting itself. You know, even it can be a harbinger of cancer or something. People are undergoing weight loss. You know, they've just come off another illness. That's the worst time for shingles to happen, but it can happen then.
So, in my generation, I remember like everybody like around kindergarten age, chickenpox, like, you know, moms calling each other saying, oh, well, you know, Johnny's got chickenpox and I got to keep him home. So I did have chickenpox, so I'm at risk of having shingles because I had chickenpox.
Yes.
And I should get the vaccine?
Yes.
Okay. Because I hear it's very painful.
The shingles is very painful, and it's one of those just ridiculous things of life. It just hurts.
Okay, switching directions. Katie, you may know something about this because I know absolutely nothing about this, okay? Switching directions. I like to get pedicures, not me, somebody else. I like to get pedicures in the summer. Maybe I should try this. In the summer, but are there risk? Not all nail salons use liners. Katie, what are liners before we start? What is it? You know where we're going with this?
I think that they're talking about the little whatever you want to call it, basin tub that you put your feet in. You know, do they put a plastic liner in it, you know, for every new client, or do they not, and do they use a disinfectant that may be less effective than putting plastic over the little tub that you put your feet in?
Okay, Doc.
Pedicures.
Yes.
Well, the best pedicure is walking barefoot in the Virgin Islands on the beach.
What about polish? Nail polish?
Well, you can wear that off too, but I don't think Obamacare may cover that.
Okay. Can we get back to the risk? All right. Well, we eliminated nail polish. We eliminated barefoot in the Virgin Islands. Okay, we can't. Those are the two pedicures we have. Let's go back to here.
Pedicures. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're hitting on the important things. Are the people that are doing the service providing a clean, healthy place to do the service? I mean, are they cleaning up after each patient? Are they keeping their instruments clean? Are they themselves clean?
So that's very important.
That's very important, because it's very important that anyone who's handling you personally, that they're respectful of bacteriology. I mean, you don't want viruses and bacteria being put on you by someone else. You know, even if they're well intended, there's still basic practices to do. Outside of that, sure, have a pedicure.
But
feels good.
But there's no kind of standard regulation for it, is there? Or is
there?
Right,
you know, it's like so many things in life. I think you get a license and you take a test and put that little piece of paper on the wall and you're good to go, but probably not anybody.
So are you advocating more government regulations?
No, but I mean, it's not going to infringe upon individual freedoms. I mean, if anything, it's going to make you more free because you won't get a foot infection and be confined to your bed.
You can wear those sandals in the summer, right? Okay. Let's move past the pedicure.
Okay.
That one.
Have you ever had one?
No.
Well, you should try it. When they get that cheese grater out and go after your foot.
Oh no.
So this is the doctor's orders.
Doctor's orders.
Doctor's orders, a recommendation.
If you walk in the sand regularly, you won't need.
Yeah, you don't need it. You do not need a pedicure if you're on the beach in the Virgin Islands.
I'll be on the beach in 2 days.
Yeah, I will be checking flights now. Is there a such thing as adrenal fatigue?
Adrenal fatigue. So that's a good question. The adrenal gland is the fight or flight. Okay. So if you're in a situation where that you either have to fight for your life or you need to get out of there, that's the endocrine organ that kicks in, revs you up, and lets you either do one of those two things. So implied in that term, adrenal fatigue, would be that maybe my adrenal glands are not up to it. Well, if your adrenal glands are not up to it, then you have a lot more problems than just fatigue. You have problems with the minerals in your blood, and your blood pressure, and your kidney function, and all kinds of other things that are happening. So it's kind of one of those lay terms that doesn't have a lot of medical meaning. I think it goes back to the basics that patients struggle with mostly. Is there something real wrong with me, or is there just something that I need to live with or get by?
So it's not the adrenal gland itself, it's other deficiencies
that may be going on in your life. And so a lot of a physician's job is to try to figure out, is this just a variation of normal that will run its course and the patient's fine, or is this a disease state that someone needs to intervene and help with? Okay. And so it's a good question to ask. If you're feeling a lot of fatigue, your energy's not up, as people say, or things just don't seem quite right, and you don't have a good reason for it, then it's probably worthwhile seeking professional advice and getting some tests done.
Okay, enough of all this doctor stuff. Yeah. Okay, we got that's in the contract. We have to ask the question.
You want your monthly joke?
Yeah. No. We're not letting you out of here until we discuss the American Health Care Act that just passed the House. That will get a total change in the Senate. But what say you? Are you following this? What do you think about what you've seen thus far that's come out of the House that they passed last week? And
so my daughter asked me the same question, and I've been reflecting on it ever since. It's still too early to tell. The bottom line, as you and I've discussed before, is are we going to have third-party payers, whether they are insurance companies or governments, that are manipulating the market? And it's my tenet that in a capitalistic system, you're best served by lots of buyers and sellers interacting with each other, trying to find a good price for good quality. The more buyers and the more sellers, the more price pressures there are, the better quality, the better the price. That just works for capitalism. When you have third-party payers, insurance companies or governments that are price fixing and controlling like a monopoly or an oligopoly, they're going to mess it up. And there are going to be winners and losers, and unfortunately the little guy, the little lady is usually the loser. I don't care what the politicians say about who they care about. It's the little person that loses. So if you study these solutions that are coming out, and you look for how much they support the big insurance companies and the big government people, if that's what it's about, it's not going to be a good solution for the people.
I went to a healthcare forum last night in Gainesville. They had a Dr. Corsa. I forget the other doctor's name. Dr. Quigley. Dr. Corsa did a UGA PowerPoint presentation concerning Georgia that was pretty good. But the thing, the narrative and the talking point is pre-existing conditions. Pre-existing conditions.
Drives me crazy.
Does it drive you crazy? Is that what got you there, huh? Pre-existing
conditions?
Yeah,
and that's
that and the pedicures on the
hair.
beach. You're okay.
So, pre-existing, so let's talk about it.
Pre-existing conditions is a cause of hair loss?
That's a cause of hair loss. And there's a pill for that. Okay, so pre-existing conditions. If I'm a homeowner and I want to build my house on the beach where there are hurricanes, and I expect you to make sure that government charges me the same insurance rate as somebody that's tucked away in a valley in a very sheltered place, is that fair? Is that fair?
How dare you come on this show and discuss personal responsibility? Is that where you're going?
Well,
are you going with saying that somebody can just have a little bit of personal responsibility?
A little bit. My bride had health insurance in school. She had health insurance as a nurse at the hospital. She's had health insurance ever since she came here, and we've been working together. She's been paying into health insurance all of her life. She's had her checkups. She's had a few biopsies here and there, nothing major. Insurance companies have had a very steady stream of money, and lately a very large stream of money coming at them. Now, what about the other person that says, you know what, I don't want to pay that. I'm going to work for somebody that doesn't take health insurance out of my wallet. I'm going to be self-employed, but I'm not going to put anything in the insurance business. I get a biopsy, somebody finds breast cancer. I want health insurance right now, okay? I go to the health insurer and I'm like, well, this is now a pre-existing condition. You've got to take care of me. But you've not put anything into the system your entire life or your career. How can that ever economically work? So, yeah, a pre-existing condition. I'm a baby, I'm born with a heart condition. That's a pre-existing condition, right?
I heard a story. I heard a story last night. A mother story with pictures about when the baby was born. She's seen the baby for all of 5 minutes, and they whisked the baby away. And operations. That's a pre-existing condition.
That's a pre-existing condition, and those are things as a society we want to take care of.
Yes.
So it's something that through no fault of anyone's happened.
No fault of anyone's.
No one fault of anyone's. But if you have neglected yourself, or if you put yourself in an at-risk situation, I mean, I'm all about freedom. You want to ride down the road without a helmet on your motorcycle, so be it. But if you want to ride down your helmet without a helmet and crack your head open and have no insurance and then come in and say, well, everybody else has to take care of me as I lay there in the bed on a machine for the next 20 years. That's just not fair to everyone. That's your choice, your freedom. You need to suffer the consequences. It does come down to, are you trying to prepare and take care of future events and make sure that you're going to be in an okay place? Not be irresponsible, not expect someone else to bail you out. So, you know, you have to watch this pre-existing term, because it's now becoming this sort of thing, well, poor you, something happened, everyone's got to take care of you. I don't know. Is that where we are? Because that's where the politics are going right now.
Well, I don't want to make light of this, because there's situations where people can't help certain things. Just can't. Medical situations, and you know all too well. But I'm just going to use diabetes for an example, okay? I go to the doctor, I do my blood work. This is not this year, it's last year. So I did my blood work about 3 weeks ago. I do it once a year. So last year I go to the doctor, I do my blood work. The doctor looks at me and says, this is where you're at on your sugar level, okay? This right here would type 2, right? Is that right?
Type 2, yeah.
Right. This would be considered type 2. You're just on the fringe. But if you hit here, medication. But if you walk out of here and diet and exercise, you're okay.
Right.
You see?
Right.
Now, I then had a choice to take some personal responsibility. Right?
Right.
And
I mean, the bottom line, your doctor is saying, here's the problem you're facing. Here are the consequences of choice A and consequences of choice B. You, as a full-size adult, say, well, what do I want to experience, consequence A or B, and then what do I want my children or my family to experience taking care of my choices? I mean, we have to act and choose not only for ourselves, but for the families that we live in and how we care about them. So yeah, I think you have the freedom to make the choice. The doctor is proper to say, here are the consequences and here are the options that you can do, but it is all back to free will.
Okay, well, we've had some great segues this morning. We were talking about the workbench in life, segued right into shingles. We're talking about diabetes and pre-existing conditions. We're going to segue right into, do you have a joke to leave us with?
Yeah, you have to have, it's a good joke.
Yeah, let's have it.
So there was this short order cook. He worked in this little restaurant, and every day this unusual couple would come in. It was a fella and an ostrich, and they would sit down and have dinner. Have you heard this?
No, I'm going, but it's all right.
Well, the cook would, the waiter would go up to the fella and he'd say, what do you have? And the guy would say, tonight I want a hamburger, fries, and a Coke. And he said, well, what about her? And he goes, she'll have the same. After the meal's over, hands him his bill. He says, well, that'll be $19.33. These are old prices. Guy reached in his pocket, he pulled out exact change. Next night, same thing. Guy comes in, waiter says, what do you have? And he goes, I think I'll have that ham sandwich, a salad, and iced tea. He goes, what about her? And he goes, she'll have the same. After the meal's over, waiter says, okay, that'll be $25.16. Guy reaches in his pocket and pulls out exact change. Well, this goes on night after night. Finally, the waiter, he gets up nerve. He says, sir, he says, I don't want to pry. He says, but I notice every night when I give you the bill, you reach in your pocket and pull out exact change. How do you do that? Guy thought for a minute. He says, well, son, that's a good question. He says, I was walking down the beach one day, saw this bottle. We're back to the beach. Saw this bottle, picked it up, rubbed it. A genie popped out. Said, I'll give you 2 wishes. said, now I've heard this story, and I've heard all about those people, you know, they ask for $1 million, they run out of money. So I thought about it for a minute. I said, I want to be able to reach into my pocket, if I'm buying anything, reach in my pocket and have the right amount of money. Jeannie said, wish granted. Waiter said, man, that's brilliant. He says, like, you'll never run out of money. He said, I mean, like, you could go to the Mercedes dealer and say, I want that car, reach in your pocket, and you have the right amount of money? Guy said, yeah, that's how it works. He goes, man, you are really smart. He says, what's the deal with the bird? He goes, well, that was my second wish. Waiter said, really? He says, what'd you ask for? He said, I asked for a tall chick who agreed with everything I said. See, that second wish matters.
The second wish.
That's slang.
Second wish matters.
Don't use slang when you meet a genius.
Don't use slang when you meet. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to go into the All-Star panel now. I'm your host, BKP, live at Sycamore Crossing in downtown Blue Ridge. Thank you, Dr. Tidman. I appreciate you very much.
You.
Dr. Whaley, we want to thank the Georgia Cancer Specialist. And Dr. Whaley and Jane are traveling, so we wish them well. Everybody's traveling for graduations. We'll be right back with our All-Star panel. I'm your host, BKP. And Katie Sassine. Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia, LJ, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on-site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Local